anyhow goes, oh, Nathaniel, we have a guest, right? So Nathaniel just peeks his head. He's like, oh, Jesus is here. There was always an excuse not to go and get married in church. And then after the New Life course, not lying to you, like 2-3 weeks later, we went to a mass. And after mass, when Father Richard was greeting everyone, we came up to him and he goes, oh, why, you guys coming to get married? I'm not going to say I didn't cry.
Yes,
I did cry, but at the same time, God was always there. And I could personally feel him there in the room.
It's touching my heart too because we both lose the babies. Welcome to Coffee in Heaven podcast. My name is Kasia Intrieri, and today we'll be talking about answering God's call. And with me tonight is Malwina Janczewska, my colleague from church. And Malwina is a mother, wife, and it's also a worship leader. Welcome, Malwina.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I think the first time we met each other around 10 years ago.
Almost.
Your story is very interesting. I think you never expected 10 years ago that you will be a worship leader.
No, never. So my name is Malwina. Just like Kasia said, I am a mom, a wife. I am active member of community Metanoia at Our Lady of Częstochowa Church. And I'm also helping Unity and Mercy with worship.
Yes, we are very thankful to you. So everyone who is Polish, we invite to Metanoia community, but everyone who is English speaking, we invite to Unity and Mercy ministry. Malwinka, what is your story? Maybe we'll start from the beginning.
My story, well, I was raised, I was born into Catholic family. I was raised as a Catholic. In my youth, I kind of started moving away from church. There was nothing like major that pushed me away from church. It was just, being a young person, partying, going out. Those were the more important things back then. And then I always believed in God. I always had faith. I always knew that, I have to go to church. I always knew the Sunday Mass is important. But it was more like I was taught this. I didn't understand why. I truthfully never questioned when I was younger, right? It was just something that we always did. Holidays, we had to go to confession, we had to go to church. So it was everything that I was taught I was doing. And then in 2017, I've listened to few speakers, few evangelizators, and I was like, wow, they're actually saying things that, make sense. They were like explaining things, and I was like, this is like part of my story. And then we have, I think it was our new life course, right?
Okay.
That you invited us. So I signed up myself and my husband, and we both went. And it wasn't a big thing that God, turned me around 360 just because the beauty of God is he knows us so well. And he knew if he is going to turn my life around like that, I would get scared and kind of back away. So my transition to faith was very slow, very gradual. It was step by step. God was planting those little seeds that became flowers.
Very beautiful. How did it happen that you are a worship leader?
So after the course, I've attended few meetings with Metanoia group. Then it was Alpha course. And during Alpha course, they led few worships. And during those worships, I personally felt God's presence the most. I felt him. It was something that, in my heart, like a light went on, and it was one day, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to worship. And since then, every single worship, I felt God's presence the most. That's how I could communicate. That's how I felt.
I met you once, and I remember a long time ago, we were talking also about, you are not sure for what God really calls you. So this was for you. The path of discovering God's calling?
Partially.
Or you kind of knew in your heart that this is the direction?
No, I'm too shy to admit that, at the beginning I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a worship leader. No, I was always embarrassed of my voice, first of all. So I always thought I will never speak publicly. That's like a part of a story from young age when I have pretty deep voice. So I was made fun of. And I never liked my voice, because I felt like, it's very manly, very deep. So in my heart, it wasn't that I'm going to be, a leader. I'm going to be praising God out loud. It was more of, I'm going to do it just in my heart, No, it started with actually intercessory prayer. So that was the first seed that I was planted in my heart. that I felt like when people prayed over me, how God presented himself in my heart, how they helped me go through the, hard
Mhm.
times. And I was like, yeah, I can do that because I don't have to
Okay.
speak out loud. I can say the prayers in my heart, but still be active member and pray for that person that needs it. And then slowly, it went into a worship. And the first few worships that I've led, even when I went back to listen to them, I only went back to listen to the songs that were sang. But when the part of me speaking came, I would kind of push it forward. So I don't listen to my voice.
Mhm.
I kind of, fought with that thought of, hearing my voice. And then God works miraculously. He
Mhm.
comes with very simple, very gentle ways when I had people coming up to me after worship saying how
Mhm.
my voice brought peace to them, how they enjoyed what I was saying, how was I praying, and that just those little things that were
Mhm.
said, right? And I was like, this is what God wants me to do. He doesn't want me to hide anymore. He wants me to
Mhm.
speak.
It's very beautiful, and I would say that this story resonate a lot with my heart because I was very shy too, and I was always on the back, and I wanna praying to God, Lord, send someone else, send someone else. But at some point, I felt like "Oh, I call you to go and do what you can, okay? And this is something I think so very encouraging for everyone who feel shy, who have desires in the heart, but feel, oh, I'm not enough because I don't speak well. Or like you mentioned that you are cautious about your voice. You have
Yes.
beautiful voice. So this is like a calling sometimes in this enemy is attacking our calling and he tried to push us down. But when we persevere and we look for answers, God is calling us in the right time. I think so. In your story also, you go through formation, you go through a lot of years in communities. It's like gradually God was preparing you. It was
Yes,
not like
slowly
here
but surely.
stand on the stage. It was like a preparation, and I can see in my story and the stories of many people that often God prepare us in these little things, first in our own personal life, later he calls us to little things, and then he places us somewhere on the stages.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And another thing is my husband, he was the one that he always grounds me when it comes to faith and doing things for God. And just like you said, it's the enemy that's trying to pull us away from doing things for God's glory, right?
Yeah.
For his, to bring more people closer to him. And my husband actually was the one that told me that enemy is trying to, silence you, but God is pushing you more and more towards it. And, he would always tell me that Jesus died for us. Right? He did something that we don't know if he wanted to do, right?
Yes.
So why wouldn't you do something for God?
Yes.
Why don't you sacrifice your shame or, what's in your heart that you're afraid that people will judge you? You have to
Yeah.
step out of that zone too. You have to think about it that God died for you. He carried that cross and you should do some sacrifices for him as well.
Yes. And this is something that when we are somewhere visible, when we do some ministry visible, there will be always people who praise, who are happy, and always someone who criticizes. And this is like even Jesus. Jesus was a perfect person and he was criticized.
Yes.
He was praised, but he was also criticized, but many. So how much more we? And we are sinful, yes, and we do mistakes, yes. So this is very encouraging. Thank you, Lord, that you give us so amazing example. So this is very beautiful. So your husband is also in ministry. Yes, he's playing on the
piano. He helps up with worships as well.
Is this have an impact on your marriage, like the ministry together?
Yes. I think if we wouldn't be both in it, there would be some arguments, obviously,
Okay.
right? But yes, it's definitely. We have the same, when we look at faith, right? We have the same idea of what we have to do and how we do it. Obviously, we are sinners, so there's some miscommunications going on sometimes. If everything is based on faith and God.
It's beautiful, yes. It's beautiful because not often marriages are together in the ministry, so this is good encouragement.
Bring your husband, bring your wife. Yes,
it's worth it.
yes.
right now I'm also like with my husband in a ministry, and I see how God is also transforming our lives, and I feel that God also showed me at some point that it's not good to push,
Mhm.
but to let go, and He will call in the right time.
Mhm.
Yes. I don't know if you have this experience.
Yes.
Yes, that sometimes we have to also give the space towards each other, not like push, you have to or
Because
something.
a lot of times we want something. We want
Yes.
something, and we try to push it onto another person.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to back away and like let the time come, let the God guide that person towards that.
And pray and
And
just
pray.
pray.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
prayer for
yes,
sure.
yes. And this is normal. We don't like to be pushed. Yes.
Oh yes, yes. If somebody tells you that you have to, it's like, do I really have to?
Yeah. When do you feel the closest to God in ordinary life, everyday life?
When?
Mm.
Definitely when I pray. Definitely when things are not going my way. I try to, ground myself and think about God at that moment. Make sure that, whatever is happening is God's will. And sometimes it might not be my will. And the things might not go away the way I want it to go. But I think every day and when I pray, when I forget to pray in the morning, it comes back to me in the evening like, oh, you got to pray. Like this is most important. This is the time when you spend time with God. Because without prayer, without spending time with God, you cannot build a relationship. And, believing in God and having faith is not about yourself. It's about having that relationship with God, opening yourself up to God, letting Him in your life, letting Him guide you and show you how to live your life.
And I will ask something. I know that when I met you, I think so you were not in sacramental marriage. Is this
Yes.
true?
Yes.
So how God convinced you? Yes, you have already
God convinced us within 3 weeks. It was a quick yes. So when we met, I've been married with Michał for over, I gotta do the math now. Let's say it was 10 years already, but we didn't have a sacramental marriage. We went to a city hall and we knew, it's not right. Even before we were close to God, we knew it. But there was always an excuse. Oh, we want to have a big wedding. Oh, we want to have this. Oh, we want to have that. Oh, the time is not right. There was always an excuse not to go and get married in church. And then after the New Life course, not lying to you, like 2-3 weeks later, we went to a mass, and after mass, when Father Richard was greeting everyone and finishing the mass, we came up to him and he goes, oh, why, you guys coming to get married? Are you guys going to get married? And we were like, yeah, we're here to, to see what we have to do and what's needed. So yeah, within 3 weeks, we decided, and we had just a close family and friends, but it was still like 50 people. We did it in our house, even though it was raining. We started praying with Michał that, for God to come and change the weather, because we were preparing for everything to be outside. It was September, so we kind of knew it might rain or it might not, but September is usually, pretty sunny. So I remember we were driving, it was still raining, and we were just praying to God to, to switch that weather and bring sun. And He came because we had a beautiful sunny weather.
So beautiful. Wow. How this changed? Do you feel that the sacramental marriage changed something in your life?
Would it change? We don't live in sin. That's what changed. And we look at marriage differently, right?
Okay.
You don't look as something that can be discarded, something that can be broken, right? Because God put us together, and it's different. It's different. I feel like it's better. We have God in our mind all the time. He bonded us. We are one now with God. So there's no such a thing like separation. If there's a problem, if there's a situation that we cannot come out of it, which is very rarely, because even with the arguments, you go back, you pray, and you go back, and it's either me or him. We apologize to each other, and we're trying to see, connect back to everything to faith, right? We try to go back and talk about it and see where is the enemy pulling us, why the things are happening, right?
How about your children? I think so. Your children were already
yeah,
older.
Yes, so we already had 2 boys. I think they were like 6 and 4. We just started bringing them to church. At the beginning, obviously, it was when at the beginning of our faith, we struggled because they were boys, so they were all over church. But, we started constantly, bringing them to church, exposing them to the church and the mass and how to act, how to behave. And, there were a lot of snacks, a lot of toys, bringing in big bags of everything, just so they can, get adjusted into the mass. And one funny thing, because when we always brought the kids
Uh-huh.
to church, we would say, look at the altar, there's Jesus over there, and there would be a priest, right? But we didn't connect the dots. But the kid would always look at the front, at Jesus, instead of at the,
Uh,
at the picture. He would look at the priest. So one day, Priest Tom came to our house, and Nathaniel must have been like 5. So Michal goes, oh, Nathaniel, we have a guest, right? So Nathaniel just peeks his head. He's like, oh, Jesus is here. And so we were laughing. And then, kind of clicked in our heads that we don't tell him. Like, even though we have pictures of Jesus,
Uh-huh.
right? We never like sat down. This is Jesus. That guy, he's maybe close to Jesus, but not Jesus. But yeah, it was funny. So, and with the girls, it was just so natural, I gave birth when I felt good. A week or 2 later, they were all coming with us. We had worship practice. They were all with us. We had to lead our worship. The girls were with us constantly.
So they were like, yes, they were from the beginning.
It was something normal for them, right? Recently, Amelia was writing on the envelope. She put like 18 envelopes because she has 18 classmates. She took all these 18 envelopes and she's asking me, Mom, when you going to sing in the church? I said, it was right before the Freedom Night. I said, oh, Friday. Oh, how do you spell Friday? So she's writing Friday and, the date and time. She's asking me all these details. And I said, what are you doing? She's like, I'm inviting all my friends. I'm like, oh, wow. So you're going to invite everyone to worship? I'm like, good. Tell them to bring the parents too. So yeah, I think it's very natural for them that we are very involved in church and with worships and prayers.
So you have this sense and importance on community. This is very deeply on my
Yes.
heart, the community, the people who surround me. My story of my life is like showing me that when you have a community of people, the faith become like organic, and even in the hard times of the doubts, you have like a support and the people who
Yes.
keep you. The times when I walk astray on a side was at times when I get isolated, when I isolate myself from the like a faith community. I just skip the meetings, try to be by myself, and I see that this often a tactic. But in the community, even the family life, like your children, they are
All family, all aunts, uncles. Yes. It's very important to be in a community, to have a good community, faith-filled community around you. That's for sure, because there are times when you are unable to pray for yourself and you know that there are people that are praying for you. It's at the beginning, those are the people that, were bringing me back to God when enemy was trying to attack me. And our lovely Allah, she was one of them. She just looked at me and she would be like, you gotta come here. We're gonna pray over you. I didn't even have to say anything. She could see it in my face and the way I was acting that there's something wrong and I need the prayer. She was very good on picking up stuff like that. And you just need people. You need people around you with the same mentality, with the same goal in life, the same goal in their heart. They are the ones that will support you, the ones that will bring you back. If you try and isolate yourself, they will reach back to you. They will try to bring you back.
Yeah, you mentioned about Alaya. She was like a mother for
She
all
was,
of us.
yes.
Yes, and this is also beautiful that in community we have people of different ages, and we kind of younger generation bring something else, the older generation brings something.
We learn from each other. Yes, we do. We learn from each other. We share experiences and views. And like you said, some older people have different views, but when they hear views of a younger person, things get together and kind of equals it. And yes, it is beautiful. And your community will teach you a few things too. Yes, definitely. Sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but being in a faith-filled community is not like you're going to argue and you're going to talk back to each other. It's more of we sitting down, we pray, and we try to find resolution to it. And even if I'm wrong in the situation, I don't get upset. I don't act, straight away. Like I don't go anywhere. I sit down, I listen and try to understand where's that person coming from, why things are happening this way. So I think problems are solved differently. And you see that, right? Because we are all different. We different ages, different backgrounds, cultures. But as a community, we come together and we find resolutions. And
everywhere are disagreement. It's normal thing, the disagreement, but there is this people around you who help you in a godly way resolve the problems. Yes, to cool down those situations.
And in community, you will learn how to love people with
Yeah.
differences.
And this is the other part. This is beauty of the community support, but at the same time, like in the family, not always everything easy. And especially if you get closer and closer, like in the small groups in both communities, Metanoia and Unity and Mercy Ministries, we have a small groups. Yeah, Unity and Mercy is pretty fresh, so we will encounter this soon, probably. But when you get closer, there is like more disagreements. It's a little bit harder, but this is like a time of shaping. I remember comparison that community is like when you place a stones to one big and you will be shaking them. After a while, all they became very rounded. So this is how the Lord is also make us more holy through encountering different love, different situation. All our like harsh edges
Are crumbled.
Yes. So I feel like that's
It's a beautiful comparison to community, yes.
And we have the support, but at the same time we are shaped by the all different circumstances. How has God met you in the hard moments in your life?
God was always with
Yeah.
me. And I know this even in the hard moments. And there were few in my life that even by the people in community was told that, I'm gonna suffer and all that. And something in my heart was telling me, do not listen to that because I am with you. Even though the situations were very hard, I knew that God is with me all the time. I never questioned that. I might question myself and I question my emotions and feelings because it's not about God not being there for me because he's always there for me. It's about me not fighting him, not building the walls, not letting him in. Yeah. I think it's more about us changing because you can say God is not with me. God let me suffer or why God let me. I've never questioned God. I've never sat down and be like, why God, it's me? Why it's this thing happening to me? It was more of what is going to come out of it. What are you doing? How is this going to shape me to be better person, to be better human, to be better disciple, to be better, Jesus follower? So it's all about us mostly, in my opinion, personal opinion, that not to build walls and God is always there. And you just have to notice that.
Yeah, this is be touching very hard moment, but it's touching my heart too because we both lose the babies. Yeah, so during this time you also worship the Lord, keep worship, you keep the battle. Yes, I know kind of the struggle between, but knowing that the Lord is in everything and he can use. And really the goal, it's not here. The goal is the heaven. I am thinking how people who doesn't have a faith, how they survive this kind of situation. Because for me, it's like unimaginable to having this hope that this life is temporary and in the future, this what it's waiting for us in heaven. This is the goal. It's like changing all perspective. How do you feel?
Definitely without God, I would be probably still depressed. God is the one that, lifted me up every single time I've heard, a new bad diagnosis. Every single time they would not giving them any chances to survive. God was there and he was the one picking me up every single time I crumbled. I'm not going to say I didn't cry.
Yes,
I did cry. I had my sad moments, but at the same time, God was always there. And I could personally feel him there in the room when anytime I was getting a diagnosis or something, some bad news were coming, he was there holding my hand. And without God, if I wouldn't hold on to God's garment, I would be gone. So him, yeah. And yes, and in all your worries, all your troubles, always worship God.
Yes,
this is my motto.
In all circumstances.
All circumstances. Doesn't matter if you're down, if you're happy, if you're sad, if things are not going your way. God reminded me this constantly. I get this reminder, worship, worship, worship. So when everything happened, we had retreat, church retreat. I remember my mom was surprised that I'm going, but I said, I'm going to worship. There's nothing else it's out of my hands. There's nothing else I can do. The only thing I can do is worship God and be grateful that he gave me them for the 7 months.
Yeah, I feel the same. And I think so this is also a thing what you says. It's not like denying. It let yourself in the hard situation. Let be truth. Let be sad. Let's cry. Let all emotion, yes,
Mhm.
talk with people. I think so. In the hard moment, I don't know how you, but I have that, oh, I want to like isolate myself, be
Yes.
separate. And I think this was like a therapy. I would say that I spoke with people. I had to spoke to say people were so good, so kind to me in this circumstances. It was like a therapy. You talk about that. You let the feelings out, and at the same time remember about the hope. This life is just temporary. We're going to the heaven. We will see each other with our children soon. Yes.
And the thing is, we have to remember that our children are not ours. They're God's
Yes.
children. So he gave me the opportunity to have them for 7 months. It wasn't forever. They were not mine. They were his.
Yes.
And I remember a week before I lost them, there was this girl, I don't remember her name, with a husband in our church. They were doing retreat. And I went to them and they prayed over me. And the first thing she said, I see a boat and I see thunders. But in the boat is Jesus holding your 2 babies. And that boat rocks side to side and your babies are sleeping peacefully. And it was something so, so close to my heart that was like just a reminder that they are going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's me that will have to.
Yeah, this is true. Yes, and in this situation, I learned a lot of stories, like mine, yours. Met couple who lose 8, 9 children, and they kept this for themselves. And I feel it's very important. I heard also from Allah, our Allah, mentioned to me, don't close yourself. Speak about that. And this was very helpful. I feel like sometimes people close themselves, don't think about this stuff because they are painful and not pleasurable to share. But I feel this part of talking about that and speaking, it's helping also heal. How do you feel?
Yes. And your story might help someone else
Mm.
because we are only humans. We
Mhm.
are sinners and we are weak. And sometimes we forget about, that we have to lean towards God. So we, in our earthly ways, we isolate ourselves. We close ourselves because those things are very painful. Why looking for help in people? What are they going to tell me? Oh, you're going to be okay. The time will heal you. Those are the things that not everybody wants to hear, right? But if you lean towards God, the peace that he can bring you, no human will ever give it to you. So always, always, always lean towards God.
And don't isolate yourself.
And don't isolate
Yes,
yourself.
speak with
Speak to
people.
people. Yes.
Yeah.
Because you might not feel this way, but there will be a person in your community that will bring you up, that will show you the way, that will help you, that will guide you. Because God sends us people to be around us, to help us in some moments, because we like to close ourselves in little boxes. And he works miracle ways, and he will bring that one person that will say 2 sentences that will change your life.
Thank you. How does a healthy, faith-filled community looks like for you, if you would describe?
Looks normal. We are like all the other people. It's just our goal might be a little bit different than others. We're not crazy. We don't worship any God. We only worship God. The things we do, it's for his glory. Can you distinguish like people from community that is faithful? Some people will say that we crazy, right? That we pray, that we go to meetings, that we spend time around church and, talk about God. So yes, some people will say that we look crazy and act crazy, but we're just normal human beings. We just have a different goal in life. I don't know how else to say it. It's not like you're gonna go and see some. I don't even know.
Like this is interesting because when we imagine, at least when I was very young, I imagined saints, and even if we look on the movies about the saints, very often they were like from different world. They were behaving graciously, walking, and what is beautiful, especially if we learn more about saints, that they were very normal people. They were very normal people who walk on the earth. Sometimes some of them, they were weird, but this is beauty that God is calling everyone, no matter of personality. And what coming to me right now, Carlo Acutis.
Mhm.
Because when we have in the church the saints from the past, they have a special garments.
Yes.
And now to seeing Carlo Acutis wearing the normal clothes and the backpack on some
Mhm.
stages, it's like, it's
Yeah.
so weird,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
It's so it's like reminding that we as the Christians and we who are called to the community, we are called
To be saints.
yes, to be saints, to be normal, to live
Mhm.
the life according to Lord, what God
Mhm.
is calling us, to the fullness of life in Him. What would you say to someone who watch right now and feel far away from God? And the other question, what would you say to someone who is not that close to church, maybe not have a community, but feel some call to something more? What advice would you give to this kind of people?
So to somebody that is doesn't feel God around him,
Mhm.
feels far away from God. Those are the normal feelings. Those are very normal feelings. So first would just validate, would talk to the person, see if we can help the person find the reasons why things are like that. Why do they feel far away from God? And sometimes just a simple prayer of God, I don't feel you around. I feel lonely. I need you right now. Just simple words. Because like I previously said, we close ourselves from God. We building the walls. It's not God building the wall. It's us. And those are, when you feel far away from God, those are very valid feelings. We all feel sometimes that, we can't feel God. We can't see him. He's not there. But just, help them go through step by step, with a simple prayer, maybe praying over the person, trying to find the root of that, why they feeling this way, because it's their feelings. It's not God. God is there. It's just why are we? Why things are happening? Let's find a way.
If someone is searching something more, or like you, when you felt a calling to something more, what do you advise to person who is in this stage of life? It's questioning, I feel that you're calling me to something, but I don't know to what, for what.
I would prayer. It's just asking God to clarify, where do you see me? And obviously sometimes you're going to have that thought in your mind that will pop, and still pray over it. See where is God guiding you? What good will come out of this? And just building the relationship so you understand who's talking to you. Is it your mind or is it God?
Discernment, yeah.
Yes.
And would you advise to like try different things?
Yes, try things. See
Think-
what,
mhm.
try things at the beginning. Don't jump into one lake. Because the thing is, God will plant the seeds, and it's on you to water them. So see if this is what God is putting in your heart. Just go and try.
Yes.
And then you try, and if it feels good, but not good for your own good, but for God's good, if you bring in something good for God's glory, for God's work, then this is the way to go. But we have to remember, it's not about us feeling good about it. It's knowing that something that you're doing is going to bring more disciples, more people into Him. That's going to help build His heaven.
Amen. And I would say also that to try different things, I would say I was playing on the guitar. Maybe I was not the best in playing in the guitar, but whenever on the beginning of my journey, I was often invited to play on the guitar or pray over people. And with the time when I try a lot of things, especially when I arrived to United States, I tried teaching. I realized, wow, this is my main thing. I still play on the guitar, but I had to let go because I don't have too much time. So I had to focus on something specific, and I feel this calling. I'm not saying it's always easy because you have to prepare yourself. Often I'm speaking when it's busy time, and you always think, "Oh, I would like to prepare myself better." But when I'm doing this, I feel like a bird flying, I feel that this is it in my heart. I don't know if this is the end. Maybe God will call me to something else. I also love starting, like you mentioned, communities. Sometimes I'm thinking, Lord, I would like to stay and be somewhere. I already prepared something and I could like little bit step back and rest. But usually God is calling me to something else. And it's little bit uncomfortable. It's not comfortable feeling. If I look at myself just, I would say I prefer stay. But this is something with pulling me, and usually I feel that this is it. I feel this was yours, and I'm very happy, very honored that God called me and let me this opportunity.
So you have to look at circumstances
Mhm.
too, because a lot of times we would want to do a lot of things, right?
Yes.
We would like to do Bible studies and
Mhm.
teaching, and we would like to do
Mhm.
worships, and we would like to do another meeting,
Mm.
and it all piles down, right?
Mhm.
There's so much stuff going on that you have no time to your own personal prayer.
Yes.
You don't have time for your family, right?
Mhm.
And God doesn't want that.
Yes.
He wants you to do good at certain things, but he still wants you to be good for your family, for your close ones, for the relationships that you have with him, right? He doesn't want you to be like, oh, I'm going to serve God by this. No, you have to have that relationship. So,
Yes.
yes, you have to look at circumstances and kind of step back sometimes and be like, okay,
Yeah.
it's beautiful to go to Bible studies. That was my, I'm just
Mhm.
talking about my experience. You know, I jumped into so many things, and
Mhm.
at one point I was like not home at all.
Mhm.
And I had
That's
two
very
little
good
kids.
point.
Thankfully, I have my mom that was helping me, but God kind of stopped me in the
Mhm.
moment and had me, you know, look around. And it was so weird, but it was one of those things that, you know, you see in the movies that you come out of your body and you're like, okay, so I serve God, but I don't serve my family. And
Mhm.
God was the one that stopped me. So then I kind of back away from some things, and he showed me which things I should pursue for him, which was the School of New Evangelization and the music group at our
Mhm.
church. He's calling me for more things, but I don't feel worthy,
Mhm.
which I know how it will come with time. You know, God know me so well, he cannot just jump me into, you know, open water. He knows he slowly needs to bring me to those things. And he is, you know, slowly showing me the steps and what should I do, which is evangelization, right?
Mhm.
I was given a word 2 years ago, I think, that this is not me. God wants you to do something else. And obviously me, myself saying, how can I go and evangelize with this voice? You know, and like,
Beautiful
you know,
voice.
not having enough knowledge about Bible, because, you know, till
Mhm.
this day I don't. Some people have this you know, gift of spitting Bible verses left and right, and I'm still not there. I'm like, how can I go and evangelize?
Mhm.
But I know he has a plan for me, and it might not be with, you know, knowing all the Bible verses on top of my
Mhm.
head, but we're getting there slowly.
And this is very beautiful what you says. Priorities, like first it's Lord. And this is also in any ministry. First time with the Lord. Everything grow from this place. Second is a family. The calling, if you are a priest, priesthood. If you are a wife, husband, it's your marriage, your children, your work. And then it's the ministry. Yes, not other. Often people who meet the Lord, they want to do everything.
Everything.
But I think so. This is maybe also the stage that most of the people need to go through, and they try different things, and they see where God is calling me to give my time. And sometimes this is switching, and God is calling us farther and farther to something more and more and more. And sometimes also saying at some point, walk away a little bit, spend more time with me, and come back. Yes.
I think I talked to you. It was like 2, 3 years ago when we were talking on the phone about it, because I jumped on so many things, and I asked you, you and Andy were playing over me, and I said, you know, I'm getting this thoughts in my head from God that, you know, I gotta stop, like I gotta step away a little bit, and I did. And it was the best thing ever, right? To listen what God is telling you, because I felt like at the beginning I felt like fighting that, because I'm like, there's no way God doesn't want me to do this, right? But you know, the thought kept coming back, and all this time that I was spending, you know, outside of my house, not, you know, not being around my children, you know, God told me literally, I gave you those two kids that needs their mom right there, and it was the best thing ever.
And this is good that we talk about that. I think so. This is important for our viewers too, because each of us going through this stage, and it's good to listen. It's good to listen and hear, to be wise in the ministry, and everything fall on the right place. Like you bringing your children, your husband, everyone is involved, and this is organically, because this is a healthy way. Yes. Well, Vinko, it was a pleasure to talk with you. I think so. We have a lot of more topics. We would go in each of this topic even deeper, but we don't want to speak too long. Thank you so much. If you like this episode, like and follow for more, and see you next time.